So for my independent reading project, I chose the subject of war, and not knowing actually what war was. I mean, we've heard a lot about war. I just had a basic question: what is war? And if you look at this, 18-year-olds are required to sign up for the selective service system or the draft, and the chances of being drafted are very low. But I still kind of couldn't help thinking, what if I was drafted? What if we had draft? And then I'd have to go to war. And I'm what is war? So a lot of war propaganda, we all know about war from movies, video games, paintings, books, but we actually don't know anything. We know what we're told in these such things. If you go on movie Top Gun, it's pretty good, pretty funny. When I watched it, I was like, man, Air Force is awesome. I want to do that. And then kind of went on, I'm like, maybe not, because he's my partner. And this is a long time. This looks so awesome. Crossing the Delaware, Washington crossing Delaware. And I mean, do you think they really have the American flag? They're protecting it or anything. Getting ice out of the way. It probably was really cold. They're probably freezing. It's nothing like that. But that's what we're told, and that's what we see. Now the next one, Lord of the Rings. Awesome war, where nobody really dies. I mean, in this final war, I mean, the main characters, live on. Even the hobbits, which the hobbits are actually the characters I related to, because they didn't even know what they were getting into. It actually says mission, quest, thing. He didn't know what he was getting into. So still, I'm thinking, what is war? World War II, casualties, 70 million. Yeah, that's just, can you imagine how many people that is? Now, there's just some figures here. American deaths per day. If you go on, this is 416 people. And there are about 16 people in the class. Every day, American troops in World War II. 16 people in the class. That's nothing even close to 416. How can we picture 416 people every day being killed? So that, a lot of heartbreak. So I had this, YouTube video, and it's kind of a good question. Is it muted? Well, we all know. You guys know what it is, war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Today, these are soldiers coming home from Iraq. And
wait, 1 second.
It's fine for you. Everybody knows the song. That's it. So, what is war good for? I mean, we celebrate our troops coming home because we know that some people think that we're fighting for a good thing, but it doesn't matter if we're fighting for a good thing or not. But the soldiers are fighting for America, and in this case, the Iraq War celebrated the soldiers. Yes. Now, Vietnam draft dodgers, they didn't know about war, but they just knew they were against it. They didn't want to be in war, so they didn't know what war was. But these guys, soldiers in the next slide, they knew what war is because they actually went there. Now the draft dodgers, all they knew that is they were opposed to it. They didn't know what it was. They just didn't like the idea of going to Vietnam, and these guys did. So one book I read was Catch-22, written by Joseph Heller, and it's really interesting. He actually was in the war, and he had the same job as the main character in the book. He flew 60 combat missions, in a B-25. This is a bombardier. And that's what the main character's job was. So it's very interesting that he knew the war, and then he wrote a book which depicted the war, but in a way as to kind of say that the war is confusing. And it's just very, yeah. The Catch-22. It's a provision that allowed insane people to not go on any more bombing runs. And then, only a sane person would not want to go on bombing runs because they're dangerous. So then they would be sane and be sent on more bombing runs. But only insane people would actually go on bombing runs because they're so dangerous. So it's just like this circular logic that never really gets unfolded or anything. It's just completely confusing. And yeah, he writes this so that he actually kind of shows that we're not supposed to understand war unless we actually go there. And the book's not chronological, so it's more confusion, and it's used to alienate us from war, which it does pretty well. I try to make this kind of circular logic thing from Catch-22. See war, gets to peace eventually somehow, and peace gives thriving, new ideas, inventions, different ideas which are opposing, which brings conflict, which brings back to war. So it's kind of like this never-ending cycle. And we read 1984, and they said war is peace, and the reasoning was continuous war gives a common enemy which unites people. And just like I showed back there, it's continuous, the cycle of war, peace, more conflict, ideas, all these things spread around, circular logic. So there's never really an end to war, which is the saying. Only the dead have seen the end of war, which just ties into what I read in Catch-22 and thought of in 1984's War is Peace. Yeah, obvious outcomes of war: death, destruction, heartbreak. But what causes war? So I looked in, and I thought a good reason: religion. Conflict in the Middle East, obvious because of religion. Yeah, it's just the radicals in the different religions that starts saying, death to America and Israel and all that stuff. And I read this book. Oh yeah, and other opposing diet. It's not all religion. I don't, criticize religion at all. It's just that, it's a major conflict between religion, and then other opposing ideas also cause war. So I read the book "What is the What" by Dave Eggers, and if you go on, the next instance is just an example of. Actually, no, this is the summary. Yeah, a man was caught stealing and his hands cut off, but this was a Sharia law. But that man was from a different village that did not have this as law. So this is the is about the Sudanese Civil War, and they wipe out a village, and this main character is forced to flee with the lost boy, just the boys of the village, only ones like to survive, basically try to make it to America eventually, and he does, and he just shows. He tells of his story. It's an Dave Eggers wrote the book, and this is the actual main character. And he knew the war, and the author did not because he was never in the war. But he wrote what Valentino told him. So I read these books, and I still came up with the question: what is war? I couldn't figure it out. So I just said you can never know, really. And what is the what? Valentino asked a little boy in the United States, "Have you seen the beginning of a war? Picture your neighborhood, and now see the women screaming, and babies tossed into wells. Watch your brothers explode." Can any of us actually imagine that happening? Yes, similar to what the George Santayana said, I believe that only those who have been to war can understand it. So, what is war? We can never know. And I drew an illustration of this, just a question mark with war in the middle. So it's really it is the question, and it's also the answer. So, yeah, that's what is war.